Well, I would say that it could be solved with time. If I can rephrase that, I don't know that they necessarily will be. But credibility is so important because that's really the only asset that the journalist has. If people don't believe you, that's all hopeless. And we had a big case of this recently. A famous television journalist in the U.S. named Brian Williams. I don't know if this story is here or not, but he was the anchor of one of the leading television news program in the U.S., NBC News. And then it became revealed that he'd been exaggerating his role in some stories that he reported. And so suddenly, everything that he says, people question it. They say, I don't know if we can believe it. Maybe he's sort of making it up to make it sound bigger or more important. And so he's been temporarily taken off of the news. Maybe he'll never be back. I don't know. But he lost his credibility, and his network is worried that they would lose their credibility. Because if people can't believe you, no one will come to you. Because no one is required. I don't know of a place where you're required to read the news. Maybe in a class, you know, but in regular life, nobody is required to watch the news or listen to the news or read the news or participate in the news. It's always an optional thing. And you only do it because you find it entertaining, amusing, and you believe it. And if you no longer believe it, then you'll go to another channel.
Bueno, entonces luego desde la NBC se comenzaban a preguntar cómo, bueno, la gente se empezó a preguntar como si todo lo que este periodista...
So that's the problem of credibility. It's a problem of trust. The solution, I think, at least a solution that's possible in the new media, the digital networked environment, is that, one, the journalists can become better listeners. You know, in the past it was always very hard to listen to the public. You could interview a few people for a story, but you couldn't get the input of millions. Now you can get the input of millions by listening to social media. That's the first piece. So the second part then is become better at telling the story. So you tell the story in a way that puts more context into the story, and you can use data. You can use, you know, all the stuff that you're collecting as a way to contextualize stories. Many times we tell stories and it's just an anecdote. You know, Laura was, you know, run over by a truck, and we tell that story. But now we can tell that story, and we can say, and we have it's part of a bigger problem. So people see the context. And we can do that now. We have the means to contextualize stories. So that's one example. Another way is we can be more nuanced so that we can let people see that this story isn't just one-dimensional. In the past, when a story was in the news or in television, you only had 30 seconds or 60. You know, how can you nuance a story in that short a time? Now we can put it online, so we give people a little piece of it, maybe in 30 seconds, but we then say, this story has several dimensions, and go to our mobile app, or go or whatever, to see the nuance, the texture, the complexity of the story.